All right, so we're here for a Kaladesh draft, and we have very luckily opened one of the very best cards in the format, Verderus Gearhulk. Um, if this wasn't here, I would definitely take Cloud Blazer. I like Prof Prism a lot. Glint Sleeve Artisan is probably the best white common. Hunt the Weak is quite good. Dragster's not bad. And Contraband Kingpan's pretty good, but you can normally pick that up late. And yeah, but really, there's just nothing to say here. This card is just completely insane. So that's what we're gonna take. Um. So next, obviously, it's not going to be as clear cut as a Verderus Gearhulk. This card's incredible. And I do really like green in this format a lot. Looks like whoever's in front of us picked a rare. Um, I'm probably just going to take Prophetic Prism. Augmenter's good. Uh, Weaponcraft Enthusiast good. I don't mind a Fragmentize. Tiger's fine. Self Assembler's good. It's a fine early pick. Um, but I think I'm just going to take Prof Prism. I really, especially in green, I really like to splash. Um, so you can just really ramp up the power level of your deck. Uh, Gearhulk's not as good in like the super slow and grindy decks, but those are the kinds of decks that I like to draft. And it like this card's never bad. We'll get another Prof Prism, which I'm pretty happy to take here. Um, Black, we might be seeing black. Um, we might be seeing white. Generally, I like to pair green with either blue or black and go fairly slow and grindy. Uh, it looks like we might not be seeing green. I mean, this card is almost certain to make my deck. I'll play, I'll play whatever like really medium quality green cards in order to be able to put this card in my deck. This card is incredible. So, and seeing a Wildest Streams this late makes me think that at least the type of green deck that we're starting to be looking at here, and the type of green deck that I think is the best is open. More aggressive green decks, Wildest Dreams not good, but if you're just kind of trying to like stall out the game and uh, get to the late game, this card is an excellent late game card, and it's better if you have like insane bombs like this one. So definitely going to take Wildest Dreams here. I do like the fact that this Pillar Bug is still here. Um, that makes me think that black might be open. Uh, Definitely taking Wild Wanderer here. There is a print run uh, that has these two and Minister of Inquiries. So there's a possibility that somebody to our right is also looking to draft a slow blue deck. Um, and I mean, we're not necessarily going to be a slow blue deck, but that tends to be where the slow green decks end up is green blue. Um, Green black is also the other way that the slow green decks can go. Green white tends to be more of like a token deck, and green red is basically not really even a thing. It can be, but it's like a weird kind of mid-rangey beatdown deck. This pack has one playable in it. Well, two playable. Skyskipp's fine in aggressive black red decks. Foundry Screecher, gonna take it. Might play it. It's more of an aggressive card, and I don't really love like just pure aggression in this format. Uh, Furious Reprisal is fine. It's an okay card to splash. In some matchups, it's incredible. Um, Insidious Will is pretty good. Um, like it's kind of awkward to leave up 4 mana, but this card, the flexibility of it is what makes it good. Because you can either counter their spell, or if you ever get to do the choose new targets on a removal spell, you just win the game. So normally what happens there is you'll just like pass with 4 mana up, and most of the time you're just going to counter a spell. But the times that you actually do get to redirect a removal spell, the game is just almost over instantly. So this pack is pretty bad. There's some red white tricks. Cogworker's Puzzle Knot has spots where it's incredible. Goggles I think is bad. I'm gonna take Sabotage and not be super happy about it. There's a possibility that this could end up making the cut. High Spire Artisan's a card I like a lot. Glad to see it wheel. Um, I don't remember if there was another green card in our pack. I kind of feel like there wasn't. So there's a possibility that there's only like one other person in green. And green can easily support 4 players. Green is just super deep. Fragmentize, another card I like. Fortuitous Find is kind of interesting with the Gear Hulk. As is Diabolic Tutor. Like, we already have 2 pretty good things that Diabolic Tutor for. And being in green, I don't think I'm going to miss a Fragmentize. So I'm going to take the Diabolic Tutor. Not clear whether or not it would ever make the cut. Here is between Nimble Innovator and the Club Security. The Club Security is like, it's not good, but it's also not that bad. I don't mind it if one of this card makes my deck. The Automaton, I don't think we really need here because we already got a pretty solid late game. These are both sideboard cards. Probably gonna take the Aradar Express. This is a good sideboard card against like decks similar to the one that we're currently playing, where we're just like slow and trying to come up the ground and then kill you with awesome late game cards. Ardar Express pretty good against that sort of strategy. Disappearing Act I do like. I think this card is quite good. Um, and if I end up like heavier into blue than black, I will definitely put it in my deck. Welding Spark's pretty clear pick here. Nothing else is very good. Um, Welding Spark's excellent card. And having these Prisms and this Wanderer and going to continue to pick up splashing. This card's very splashable, which is part of why it's so great. And this pack just has no good green cards. I like Aether Theorist probably more than most. So if we did end up blue, I would like to have some of those, but I'd rather have Welding Sparks even if we end up blue-green. Another Welding Sparks. Era of Innovation is an incredible card with exactly Whirler Virtuoso. And if I already had a Whirler Virtuoso, I would take it over Sparks. But I don't, and at present I still have no real reason to think that I'm gonna be base blue green. Hunt the Week's a good card too. Like I said, Theorist good. We'll take Brawler. I guess would be a consideration if we were like gonna try and be an aggressive red green deck, but I don't want to be that. So I'd much rather just have another really strong removal spell and another Sparks. Disintegration is a card that when I first looked at the pack and didn't see this Welding Sparks, I was just gonna snap this off. I'll gladly double splash this, and now it's like starting to look like we're gonna be pretty decently heavy into red with all this removal. We just got 3 Welding Sparks in a row. And I guess it seems to me like the person behind me is in green, which seems pretty much impossible because green was pretty cut in pack 1. Like, I didn't even really pick up much green. But yeah, sometimes like he could have opened something. He could have opened like Nissa or something like that, or just a Gear Hulk. The fact that we have a Gear Hulk doesn't make it any less likely that the guy behind us has a Gear Hulk. So, Padim is pretty awesome. Uh, don't really have any reason to play it just yet, but it's pretty great. Um, hmm. I could also just take Pyrohelix and lean into this red a little more, just because like we can still be a slow and grindy deck with just these red cards and these green cards, which I think I'm gonna do. I definitely need to get into blue for Tezzeret's Ambition if I'm gonna do this, or just like randomly find another Wildest Dreams or something. This pack is abysmal. The best cards are non-existent. Probably the actual best cards in this pack are Malphus Squad and Salivating Gremlins. The Ibex is okay. Construct is okay. Skygate is like pretty medium. There's a spot for Perpetual Timepiece if you're just drawing a billion cards. And Puzzle Knot has its spot too. This card's really incredible some amount of the time. I'm going to take Skygate though. Good early defensive blocker. Not a great card, but it's fine. Seed Sculptor, pretty easy. Snap off the Seed Sculptor here. This card's great. One of the best 2-drops in the format. It's not necessarily like any kind of signal that the people behind us are not just in green too, because green is so deep. Like somebody might have just taken a Pima Outrider or a Thriving Rhino out of that pack. Tiger, probably just gonna take Tiger. Don't like Spark Your Creativity much. Don't like Construct much, unless you like Construct has its spots. This card is just a really good synergy card, because it's an artifact creature that has reasonable stats. The ability is probably a small downside for the player casting it, just because they get to use the card first. They get to use their slight improvement on draw step before you get to use your slight improvement on draw step. So it's probably a tiny bit net negative. But if you just like, if you're just playing like a black green beatdown deck with a bunch of Froundish creatures, there's nothing better. Um, this pack is a little less clear. None of these cards are very good. I guess Frederick's Gearhulk you can actually get back with Workshop Assistant. I've never played this card before, but Gearhulks do seem like the reason why you would want to play with it. Calprowler's very medium. Wayward Giant is outclassed by Riparian Tiger, and you just don't want that many 5-drops. I think I'm just going to take Aether Trade Winds, though. I like this card a lot. It's just, it can just do a lot of stuff for you. And bounce spells, the biggest problem with bounce spells in general is that you go down a card when you cast, like, if you cast a like for inspection or whatever, you just go down a card. Trade Winds can generally help you recoup that card with something like Wild Wanderer or Prof Prism. So it's possible that I end up splashing this. That's an incredibly late self-assembler. Yeah, probably just gonna take it. I don't really need this select. I have 2 Pyrohelixes and Welding Sparks and Reprisal. I have a lot of stuff for like cheap interaction. Consulate Surveillance better card than that looks like, but I don't think it's great here. I'm just gonna probably take. Well, guess I got an Automaton. Talking a little too much for the video. I'm gonna take Commencement as a sideboard card. It's good against Inspired Charge. I'm gonna take Tezzeret's Ambition. If I end up with enough blue cards, I'll play this. I'm gonna take Timepiece. So fine card in some situations. Curio Vendor, you can board in for creature sizing purposes when you're base blue. I like the way this deck looks right now. Got a lot of red removal, some pretty decent green creatures. I'm not sure about this Tezzeret's Ambition. Well, we opened some excellent cards in Glimmer of Genius and Long Tusk Cub. Uh, Long Tusk Cub is certainly a better card than Glimmer of Genius. This card can just run away with the game for you, and I think this deck kind of wants a Glimmer a little more, maybe. Uh, Certainly wouldn't mind another Prof Prism. Two is a sufficient amount though. Um, yeah, it's hard to pass a Cub when you're in green though, especially with all this to just force it through. I think I'm gonna take Cub. I would really like to take Glimmer, but I think Cub's just too good. Um, Now we find a pack that is just pure awful. Vote Privileges is good, and probably what I'm going to take. This Gear Part Guide is not a good card. And had I had I actually not mispicked this accomplished automaton and got a self assembler, I would probably just take the self assembler and hope to get a third and then cut this tiger. But that's not what happened. So I'm going to take Revoke and splash it. Aether Meltdown's a good card. Aether Hub's not bad in a deck like this. I'm just going to take Seed Sculptor, though. Seed Sculptor is great. It's just a 2-3 for 2. Good early play. Good solid early play. This pick, there's not really any very good cards here for us. I like Aether Theorist, but I mean, it's not even. Don't even really have a reason to play this Aether trade wins yet. Uh, so, I mean, I guess if I got enough mana fixing, I might play the trade wins and the Tezzeret's Ambition. And nothing else in this pack is really doing anything for us. This is a really, really bad pack. And this is just the best card in this pack by a mile. The fast lands are okay. Ooh, Harness Lightning is excellent late pickup. This is a tremendous late pickup. So I'm going to take it. We do need to start finding a few more creatures. But we have like some kind of medium creatures in our sideboard that we can play. Like the Accomplished Automaton would be fine. I guess that's pretty much the only one. And this pack is not helping that. Like I need creatures that can attack, that can get buffed by the Gear Hulk, and can actually close the game. I need like some 3 drops. I would love to find more High Spire Artisans. That's the exact kind of card that I'm looking for. Doomed Operative's pretty good. Thriving Grubs is alright, but we have a ton of 2s. I think I'm actually just gonna take Takedown here for the board, and just hope that we can get some better stuff as far as creatures go. I might just take the Cow Prowler at this point. I don't want to play Brazen Scourge. It's just going to be too tough on the mana. And none of these other cards are really doing anything for us. Impeccable Timing's a worse card than it looks like it is. And Cow Prowler, like, if we do get just a ton of card advantage or whatever, this can close. Already having 2 Pyral Helixes, I don't really need the third, and there are 2 decent creatures in this pack, so I'm going to take one of those. Doorbuster, I have like a kind of small energy theme going on here, but I think I'd rather just have the 3-drop. Alright, this pack is great for us. Wayward Giant is like pretty much exactly what this deck needs. That's a big fatty. Like, it's bad. It's like, it's worse than most other 5-drop creatures, but it's a 5-drop creature, and that's, we just need to be able to close. Uh, Basically, our game plan here is to just like one for one them a million times, and have a reasonable board presence, and then cast his Wildest Dreams and get back a ton of removal, and then they just never come back into it. Or just cast Gear Hulk and win the game because this card's unfair. None of these cards really do anything. I'm just going to take Sky Whale because it's a card that it's possible to lose to. Mind Rot. It's a card that I've boarded in decks exactly like this. I'm never going to bring in Wildly Bandar, so I'm just going to take another Commencement for the sideboard. Creeping Mold, I guess, is like, this could be a card. And it's a foil. That's sweet. That's sweet. Demolition Stomper's not playable. I've had somebody board this in against me once, and it was bad. Alright, so for the deck build, let's get the Stomper out of here. This Wildest Dreams makes me okay with playing the 17th land. This Incendiary Sabotage is kind of interesting to me. This card can just be a massive blowout. Let's see, what do I have for artifacts? So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's not a ton. The other option is kind of just this Automaton. I don't really have anything else that's great to bring in unless I kind of play some of these blue cards. The problem is, like, my best blue card is double blue. And I don't really want to splash, like, Aether Theorist and a double blue card. I guess I could. Wouldn't be the end of the world. I could also splash, like, just 3-4 and a Foundry Screecher. Doesn't seem that bad. I didn't get, like, a ton of mana fixing either. I mean, I've 3 sources of any basic land that I put one of in my deck, so that's plenty to splash anything. I think it's between the Sabotage, the Club Security, and the Automaton. And the Club Security probably gets the Foundry Screecher in too, which I'll probably cut the Skygate. I just don't think that these cards are really worth putting a swamp into my deck for, so it's not going to be the black. The Tezzrat's Ambition is, like, super great. Like, this is exactly what our deck wants, but it's just going to be so hard to cast. Like, I'd probably want, like, at least 6 sources for this, which would mean 3 islands. And I don't think there's a mana base that I could build that has 3 islands in it that I'd be comfortable with. So, between the Sabotage and the 7-drop, I think I'm just going to play the 7-drop. The Sabotage I think would be good, but I don't think we can quite... I don't think we're quite reliable enough about it. And we do have... I mean, I guess it's only 4 guys that die to it, and Cub can get out of range sometimes. But I think it's just going to be too hard to cast. I'll definitely board it in if somebody's like trying to go wide against me. So 1 plane's definitely right. This actually does look pretty good to me for as far as the breakdown goes. 8-8 is also makes some sense, but I think I'm gonna go 9-7 because casting any of these early removal spells, this Welding Sparks or the Pyrohelix or the Harness Lightning, casting any of those off curve isn't the end of the world. And I do have 3 double greens and a Wild Wanderer that all kind of make me want to have extra green mana. So that's what I'm going to go with. And we'll go ahead and save this. And we'll be back for match 1.